Okay, I'll be next here, and this is one of the uh, more prominent, I want to say, series of the season. It is a manga original. I believe the author. This is his first title, published title. It is Ikarakai, and it is known as Hokkaido Gals Are Super Adorable. Is the localized title. The Japanese title is Dosanko Gyaru wa Namara. Sorry, Gyaru wa Namaramenkoi. It's pretty much transliterated title, more or less. Quick summary: High school boy Tsubasa moves to Kitami City up in Hokkaido. Uh, again, I guess similar, Hokkaido stuff as Toast, where he meets Gyaru at a bus stop. The sight of her standing alone against the white snowscape, bare-legged despite the freezing cold, captures his heart. So yeah, as you might have guessed from the premise, there's really not much to this series except for appreciation of Hokkaido stuff and Garu's and the whole like very simple it's not even rom-com, it's just like very standard like romance kind of stuff with a tiny bit of like slapstick or like, oh no, the Garu is taking off, her clothes in front of me or whatever it is, that crap. This is the animation or anime is being produced by co-produced by Silverlink and Blade Studios. It's a very standard combination. Usually Silverlink Blade have co-produced a decent amount of stuff together, I believe, including most recently, I think, uh, what was it? It was like my maid is very mysterious, or the maid I hired recently is mysterious, right? That was I think that was the one where it's like the tan maid was voiced by Takashi Rie or whatever it was. Um, that I know Silverlink usually does like co-production or like has a bunch of subcontractors, and Blade is often one of them. Silverlink, obviously, you guys should know this by now. They're one of the more famous, prolific studios out there currently. Bakoto Test, Prisma Ilya, Hamefura, Nononbiri, to name a few. Blade, they've done some smaller stuff, but uh, they've assisted with a lot of other things as well. But they mainly produce stuff like the Donten Niwaro movies. They did more recently Level One Demon Lord and the One Room Hero. They did obviously again Made I High recently as Mysterious, co-produced with Silverlink. They did Iwakakeru, Sport Climbing Girls, I think, as well. So yeah, helped with a couple other studios, TMS Photo and stuff like that for color design. The staff is mainly the director, Minato Mirai, uh, who's worked with Silverlink on a lot of the big works, but have also, is a veteran in the industry. Had done a lot of other stuff. He did Bofri, Prisma Ilya, Jahi-sama, um, Made I Hire recently as Mysterious, Masamune Kun's Revenge, Sasaki and Peeps this season. So he's actually doing directing two series this season, which is not an easy task to juggle. Uh, More recently, again, Where Will I Make His Move, stuff like that. Prolific director with more recent series, and he's taking his sort of a couple of his old trusty Silverlink and Blade staff directors. He has another director under him, Hoshino Misuzu, who's done like a lot of like episode direction stuff. Worked with Minato and made a hire recently as Mysterious, as well as some internal 3D people or 3D director Ogasawa Tomu, who did both for the Ilya, made stuff with him as well. He took that core staff, and added some veterans and newcomers. Veterans mainly in the sort of art direction, character design stuff. Um, but has a couple of newcomers. For instance, Takao Sonosuke, who is sort of a little bit more of a newcomer. He's done some like one or two things in recent years, but not that many titles under his belt. So yeah, that sort of mix, and a couple of staff from TMS Photo for like color design and editing and stuff like that. So on. So yeah, a pretty round, standard mixed bag. I think it was a pretty solid team to be fair. Again, they've kind of proved their, I guess, chops with Made High Heritage Mysterious for the most part, although that didn't have like that much action in it, right? But I think it did well enough for that sort of Silverlink Blade co-produced anime, and their uh, their audio visuals for the most part here is also pretty standard, I think. I don't think there's anything that's like horribly wrong. Most of it's again static conversations. The parts where they they pretty much save the actual money and like frames and animation needed for like a specific like exactly where they would need it to. For instance, like if they need to animate the Gyaru kind of eating something at a fair or eating something at a festival or her dress fluttering slightly or whatever. They pretty much all in on those parts, and then the rest is relatively static, right? So they have a good sense of things, and the visuals are pretty decent for that. The background OST is kind of whatever. The opening and ending though, this is why I was commenting during Toast, or this is part of why I was also commenting during Toast section, because uh, the opening is Namaramenkoi Gyaru by Oishi Masayoshi, one of I was want to say one of the most prolific and famous anime uh, composers and singers of our time, and it's like a very
That's
nice
not
like
how to say Hiroyuki Sawano.
and singers, but I mean it's Hiroki Sano, I
Oh yeah,
guess, but it's
oh
like
yeah, Spire. Name one song they did.
what just one song
One
by
song.
Oishi Masayoshi. I guess this one as well as a bunch of others. But um,
Incorrect. They did best opening last year, Spire. They did Shinda. What's wrong with you?
oh yeah, that one as well. I liked also Universe, from Gridman Universe as well. It was pretty good, and it's also like very hard to sing, if you listen. But anyways, this one Namaramenkoi Gyaru by Oishi Masayoshi is jazz scene, sort of pop J-pop and song kind of stuff. But it is almost unnecessarily good quality opening for something like this series. I don't want to say unnecessarily because it is like one of the more prominent series. But I feel like for a series that's just like, yeah, it's just a high school dude macking on Geddes. I feel like it's a little bit too much. It is quite good though. And the ending as well is quite good above average. It's like I believe it's called Waya 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 Wa by Asuka. And it's like a standard song in ED. It's slightly more upbeat and higher BPM. I would want to say it's a little bit better than a lot of kind of uh sleep inducing endings that nobody cares about, so they just had some whoever like write it out. It's quite decent as well. So the OP ED combo is much better than I expected, or yeah, pretty much way
You're
more than I
you're you
expected.
ready, Spire? You ready for the dance remixes for the
Yeah.
opening?
Yeah.
The dancing's pretty good.
uh yeah. um the voice acting cast, pretty solid line of A-listers across the board. Ayane Sakura as the main Gyaru, Fuyuki Minami and Shimazaki Nobunaga as Hiki Tsubasa, both very well-known voice actors, actresses. Obviously, surrounded by veterans, Kitamura Eri, Ueda Reina, Matsuoka Ishitsuku, Hanamori Yumiri, Kubo Yurika. I would say the only two kind of new-ish voice actresses would be Nagai Mariko as one of the other guys who does who actually does the other sort of like Yankee kind of Gyaru kind of girl in the Automask Shiny Colors. She does Saijo Judy, and Nagai Rika, who also did the younger sister of Miyane, right? Hoshino Hinata in Wataten. So those are kind of like newish, but even those, they have quite a decent amount of experience by now. So pretty solid voice acting cast. As for the actual, oh yeah, I just wanted to also point out, I think Nobuza, Shimazaki Nobunaga does a very good, like sort of younger, shy voice. He's actually relatively, older. he's not like one of those like common writer people that came into voice acting and is like 19 years old or something like that. I think he's quite aged. He's I think married as well, and he does a very good like younger, shy high schooler voice in here. That I haven't heard as much of him, as much from him, and Sakura Ane also surprisingly does a very. I mean, it's not surprising. She's a very very good actress in terms of like her flexibility. Obviously, all of them are very good, but like especially I want to say Ayane Sakura, and she does like a very properly like controlled and contained like ghetto voice that isn't just like because Ayane Sakura is very known for being able to do these sort of like Genki roles, right? Um, but it's, like, very controlled, and, it's not just like, "Huh, yeah, kind of, thing. It's like, "Sit," like, she has a very straight voice, for this, voice acting role, which I do really appreciate, and I do think that both of them really properly carry this, series, um, or the animation part of it because they're able to kind of, set up these characters in that way and give the characters extra value, um, uh make them seem more humane than just like the standard like oh boy meets Gyaru and then they get along kind of anime. So props to them for that. As for the series, I mean, there's really not much to say about this series, right? It's like the guy arrives at Hokkaido, meets up with Gyaru at a bus stop, and he's like, "Oh shit, pretty Gyaru," and then um, they end up in a house together, and then a lot of the episode one, at least, is like, oh no, the Gadu is doing Gadu like stuff, and I have to cover my eyes, stuff like that. And a lot of episode two is kind of like slight Hokkaido trivia, their festival stuff like that, and then transitions mostly into um the Gyaru kind of being like, or the guy being like, "Oh no, this Gyaru is so pretty," but it's like kind of embarrassing to be close to her and like, you know, um, she's really cute and all that usual like anime romance kind of stuff. And then the Gyaru being like, "Oh, this guy is cute," or like, "It'd be nice if he was in my class," and all that crap. It's very, 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 very vanilla and very there is nothing in the there's absolutely zero in this series where you would look at it and be like, "Huh, that was surprising." It is all very predictable and um it is okay for what it is, but I think I would like just a teeny tweak, like a little bit tricker, just a slight trickle dusting more, maybe more than dusting, a seasoning of a slightly heavier seasoning of Hokkaido related references and trivia. I feel like it might come up more in later episodes, but I think I don't know. It's like because it's like theme is like Hokkaido Gata, and yeah, like there's snow and you're going through like the festival and stuff like that. But I just feel like there could be more references, more seafood stuff, whatever. Just like going through Kitami City, like just things that are more trivia based and more relevant to having theme be Hokkaido Gyaru, right? Dosanko Gyaru, whatever, right? And I think that will really give this series a very proper, unique, unforgettable spin on things that will make people want to come back and watch this instead of just 80-90% of it being like, oh, guy meets Garu, yellow hair girl, and she's nice to him. Oh, wow, it's like 12 episodes of that. That's like a that sort of product is a very forgettable series, especially these days, when there have already been, five other anime with that sort of related series, as well as countless manga or light novels with that sort of theme. So I just wish it has its focus, it has an edge on these other series. So I really wish it would use that edge properly. So Other than that, there's not really much to say. Again, I wish you would focus on a little bit more on Hokkaido and then whoop, kind of bring in the rom-com and the subplot in at the end on the back end, and it will be a really good series. But right now it's a thick, heavy dab of the Gyaru related rom-com and not so much of the Hokkaido stuff. So a, a little bit unfortunate, I would think. Within its realm, though, I would say within its box, though, it's like, okay, but I would still what rating would I give this? I don't think I think it would be very hard for me to give it a above a 5.5 or 6, honestly. If it had more Hokkaido stuff and then it kind of worked that balance in properly a little bit more, it would probably easily hit a 7. I don't know if it would be a little bit more than that. It would, I think, to be above 8 or 9, it would start require for me, it would require a lot more like character development and like complex like organic interactions that we haven't seen as much before. For it to really start rising up there. But add the Hokkaido stuff, boom, easily just like rising up in the levels and so again, a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. So yeah, so that was really my review, pretty short of um Hokkaido Gals. What was it?
Who's your favorite?
Hokkaido
Who
Gals
was
are what?
Spire's never gonna meet the other Gyarus at this point in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Hokkaido Gals is super adorable, also known as Dosanko Gyaru wa Namaramenkoi. Again, this is a manga original. If you want to jump ahead, please do read the manga. So yeah. But I believe this is also being published by originally it was published in Shonen Jump Plus, which is the Shonen Jump manga reading app, I believe. And it is being translated, I think, on Manga Plus by Shueisha. So you can read those as well. You can go online and download that app and read that as well. So